Let's talk about factory method pattern. Now we'll talk about why will we need it, how will we implement it, and when do we actually should apply it. So let's first talk about when we will need it. So factory method pattern is a creational pattern. What do we mean by creational pattern? Creational pattern means that it is used to create some objects. Now you might think, why is creating an object so difficult? So let's talk about it. So suppose there is some client and now there is some service. Let's take an example of some delivery applications like DHL. So for example, suppose there is a client. This client basically would be the app of DHL installed on your phone, and this basically wants to deliver some particular products from one place to another. It doesn't know what kind of vehicle it will need. It doesn't know what kind of boxes it will need. So let's just talk about the vehicles it will need. And suppose there are some list of vehicles. These are truck, car, ship, boat. Now suppose in the app or the client you write the code that if type equal to 1 then car, if type equal to 2 then train, then truck. So basically you are writing a lot of if conditions in this client code. So basically this client or your app is deciding which function to actually, which kind of delivery method to create. Now what's the issue in this code? The issue in this code is that if there is some change in the vehicle or if there is change in the service, we have to change the client also. So even if there are changes being done in the service, you have to change your app also. That means rolling out updates for every time there is some change in these kind of conditions, or you have to include some new conditions in the client. This is what we do not want. So to prevent this from happening, what we will do, we basically have to remove this kind of logic in which we are creating different kind of objects on the basis of some conditions into the service itself rather than being dependent on the client. So this is the major reason of introducing factory pattern. So here you are also seeing a object is being created. So this object creation which is done on the basis of some particular conditions, we do not want in the client, we want that to happen in a particular service. So that's what we want to do. And now let's see how will we do that. Now to solve the issue, we will introduce a new factory which will be creating these objects for us instead of the client creating these objects for us. So this factory, we call it as the logistic factory. Now this is an interface which will have two methods, which first will be the create factory. It will determine the type of factory which will need to be created, maybe road logistic factory or sea logistic factory, because we won't want to deliver goods by ship in the same city because there is no water connecting these two places. So obviously we do not want sea logistic in those times. It's no point introducing conditions in this road logistics code. So therefore we introduce two. Now there may be delivery through air also, so we can introduce one more factory. So this kind of gives us a lot of flexibility. Also we have the different delivery methods. We have deliver and catch function. This is basically the kind of interface. There are different types of delivery mechanism: ship, boat, car, truck, whatever they are there. So earlier what was happening, this client was directly creating one of the objects of this delivery method type, like new ship. Now we don't want this new ship to happen in the client, because what is the issue with that? That every time there is some change, we would have to change the client, which we do not want. We want these things to be present in the service side code. So for this we have created this factory. Now what will happen? Now instead of this happening here it will happen in this road logistics. So we have introduced a function called get delivery method. So we will implement this function, and in this we'll take type as the parameter which we'll get from the client, and on the basis of this type we will return one of the delivery method types, car or a truck. Similarly on the C side we will return a ship or a boat. Now what does have to do? This client will first create the factory on the basis of type. This will be the road logistic or the sea logistic, which the client does not need to know. This logistic factory this function will make it a static function. Now what's the need of this static function? Now because this is an interface, we'll create this as a static function so that this client can call this and basically get the required logistic factory and then finally get the delivery method. We could remove these two and just keep this one single class and put all the types in this instead of creating this an interface. That is also fine, but we'll go with this. So that's how this will work. Now let's see how the code will look like. Okay, so now looking at the code, let's first see the various delivery methods that we have. So we have a delivery method class, like a delivery method interface, like we talked about. It would have a deliver method, a get charges method, and there are different types of delivery methods which are actually inheriting from this delivery method. So there is ship, there is truck, there is car, and there is a boat. So these are all implementing the delivery method interface. Now what will happen is that the client, suppose this is an old client that we talked about, so it is directly creating the object of the required delivery method. So it is creating a new car, and it is doing the car.get charges and then car.deliver. Similarly for a new plane, just assuming that is a delivery type, so it is creating that and it is doing new. So first, for example, if type is equal to 1, it takes a car delivery method. If type equal to 2, it takes a plane delivery method, and then it performs whatever function it wants to do. But as you see that this code is inside the client, we do not want it into the client. So what we would do, we would introduce the logistics factory. Now what this logistic factory has, it has a static function called the get delivery factory. Now this will give the delivery factory on the basis of the type which we are putting the conditions on in the client. So if type equal to 1 or 2, we will get the ground logistic factory which will implement this interface. So we have a ground logistic factory which is implementing the logistic factory, and similarly we have a C logistic factory which is implementing a logistic factory. So on the basis of the type, it will return the required logistic factory, the C logistic factory, or the road logistic ground logistic factory. Now what we would do in that each of this logistic factory, we have separate code. For example, if in the C logistic factory, if the type equal to 3, we will return new boat. If type equal to 4, we will return new ship. Now let's see how will the client code change in this case. So this is our new client. So in this, it is boiled down to just this code. First it will get the factory by using the type, and then it will get the delivery method, and it will do whatever the function it wants to do using this delivery method. So as you see, there are no conditions involved in this. So this was all the factory method pattern. Now as you will see, there is still some issue in this code. So there is a C in this C logic factory, there is if else. So for example, suppose someday there comes a lot of new types, so this will have a lot of if conditions, if else, a lot of these conditions, and this is probably a bad code. So how do we handle this kind of conditions? I have talked about it in one of my previous videos. How do we tackle this type of design patterns? So I would suggest you to find out and comment it down. How would you resolve this if else? The condition is you cannot use if, you cannot use switch case. How would you make sure that you eliminate this if else conditions? Comment down your responses below.